Hey, everybody. Welcome. Trickle on in, everybody. Trickle on in. It's Friday. It's noon here in Southwest Missouri. It's different days and times, probably wherever you are, and that's great. So, welcome. Come on in, trickle on in. You got a few people here already. Welcome, as always. We'll take a few minutes to let people tune in. Christopher, howdy. Great to see you. Long weekend for some of us here in Canada. Oh, really? What do you got going on in Canada? Apologies for not knowing necessarily none of the holidays for other countries. My apologies. I know we, as Americans, expect you to know our holidays, so sorry about that. Being American's tough, let me tell you. Christopher says, looking at the screenshot for today's live stream, looks like the American Civil War book game is out. Awesome. Yeah, I am almost 100% sure it's released on Amazon. And I also believe that thanks to the wonders of Amazon, we can, you guys overseas, or well, in Canada, not overseas, international, right across the border, can order it, I believe. And it's not as big of a deal for shipping. I believe it's produced locally or just part of maybe Amazon's fulfillment shipping process. I don't know exactly all the details. I work for Amazon, but I think you're able to do something like that with those the Amazon book games, or the book games you can get through Amazon, right? So, howdy, Charles. Great to see you as always, my friend. Daniel, greetings. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Hi, everyone. Finally got a Friday free at work, and I could make it. Greetings from the 41 degrees Celsius Barcelona in Spain. Wow. Hope everything is fine, Wayne, and Vern look great. Great topic today. Yes, everything's great here. Vern looks fantastic. Vern's doing fantastic, but I really appreciate that, guys. He was a star of the show last week, so I couldn't have him on this week. I told no. My wife's like, you want Vern for a little bit? I'm like, nope. He'll steal my thunder again. Got to get him out of here until he gets his own show. 41 degrees Celsius. What is that in American units, in freedom units? I know that it's cool today, man. I don't have the weather up. Usually I have the weather up to show off. So again, everybody, I am broadcasting live from Southwest Missouri, down here outside of Springfield near the Wilson's Creek battlefield, American Civil War. Check out Thunder at Dawn from Claude Whalen using the Blind Sword system from Published Revolution Games. Lead playtester, this guy. Lead scout, this guy, since during COVID and stuff. So had to do that. But anyway, we are at only 83 degrees, only high of 87 today. It's cooling off. Tomorrow, high 73. Woo! I don't even know what we're going to do. High of 73? That's crazy. And then back to 90s next week. But so it should be a good weekend, except some rain. But it happens. We need the rain, actually. It's like we're in like a drought condition here. So some places nearby are actually suddenly flooding. It's just crazy how that works. Weather is crazy. So, all right. Whole heat wave is around Spain. Kind of a negative 41 DRM on a weather table. It's hilarious. Christopher, the Grass Crown. Cool. Yeah. Obviously, you guys know, big fan of, right there. Big fan of the Grass Crown. Gave it a really, really positive review from Annabelle Holland and Holland Spiel. Really big fan of it. This is Two Grass, Two Crown, which, for those who don't know, is a play on words. I know explaining it takes away the joke or the whatever factor, but it is what it is. I've seen multiple people be like, what does that mean? It says a 2, so we get it's like expansion / sequel, but what does it mean? It's based on Fast and the Furious. The second movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise was Too Fast, Too Furious, so it's funny. If you read Annabelle Holland's Twitter, she has gone on to like just as like I'm having fun with life and I'm just having fun with stuff, joking around. So that's what that's related to. But anyway, love the game, so definitely had to pick up the expansion here. So falling behind on the comments. Christian mentions the Canadian first Monday of August for some reason. Okay, yeah, I don't know what the reason is. If you know a reason, shout it out. Hugo, good afternoon from Brazil. Welcome, Hugo. Or as I like to say, howdy. David, howdy. From Brazil, from Spain, Canada, Portugal, Mexico, and the United States. There's probably some Americans in here too. Well, one anyway. Kyle says, haha, yeah, don't bother with getting reserved by Worthington. It's an absolute mess. Ooh, little spicy there. Spicy take. All right, we'll talk about that shortly. You guys know the deal. I'll kind of cover the channel. I'll cover what's going on, what I've been doing in the channel, what's coming up, and then we'll go into and then I'll cover a game that an upcoming game. That's a new feature, a new segment I'm doing, and then we'll dive into the actual channel topic. Howdy, it's Dan. Dan is here. No enemies here. No, Dan is here. That means there is enemies here. So keep an eye on you, Dan. Kyle talking about the Gettysburg game book game. I forget what they call it. Worthington has a specific name for it. Anyway, only 2 battles in the book, and they increased their price massively. Ooh, oh boy, no one loves a price increase. 105.8 degrees in American. What? Daniel, it's 105 degrees there. It's literally like you got some Southwest Missouri heat. You got some like Southern United States heat right there. So that's horrible. I hope you have a way to cool off. I know that, from my understanding, I've never been to Europe. I would like to go one day. A couple countries in particular. England. I'd love to go to England, and I would love to go to Spain. I think those would be 2 countries that I would love to go to. But I know that in my understanding is that in Europe, you guys do not have air conditioning like we do, or as much, right? Like you don't have not as many houses have AC. Here, I mean, especially down where I live, like everyone has AC. Like everyone has AC. If it's not, HVAC system built in the home, you have at least a window AC unit. Everyone does. Like there's very, very, very rare that people in America don't have air conditioning. Adam Mitchell says, I've written and published 3 wargame books so far. Uh-oh. I should have had you on as a guest then. You always think about that, reaching out ahead of time to one of you guys that writes these books, wargame books, and basically saying like, hey, you want to hop on? We can kind of debate it, chit-chat about it a little bit. It wouldn't be much of a debate. It's not like I hate them or anything like that. We'll go into what I think about them, though, a little bit. Kyle says, I wanted the print of Braveheart, and now not going to be available as a physical release outside of the U.S. Worthington have really gone down in my estimation for Bookgames. I don't know what's going on with that. I can't speak to it. Iced coffee. Our shirt says drinks well with others. Just can't see the whole shirt, implying probably a little something stronger than coffee. But it's only noon, and I may have had a couple cocktails last night. So today, clean living, other than the coffee, of course. Homemade iced coffee. All right. Let's work our way through some of these comments here. Christopher asking, how's your hand healing? And no enemies here. Dan, what happened to your hand, Dan? I have not watched your latest live stream. It gets tough to keep up with all the content. I mean, I get it. It's a great time to be a wargamer. There's live streams, there's videos, there's besides all the print stuff, which has been around forever, right? But like, I feel like YouTube is just growing tremendously. I mean, my channel's grown tremendously just in the last year and a half. We're up to, we're closing in on 3,000 subscribers. I think we are the largest solitaire wargaming YouTube channel. There's larger YouTube channels for wargaming in general. You can just look at Gary Ardwolf over there. It's got like 5, almost 6,000 subscribers. Damn it. But we, for solitaire, exclusive, very, very focused solitaire, we're kicking butt. Kyle says, I'm loving Mike Lambo's book games, though. They're getting a lot of traction recently and thoroughly deserved to. I mean, there's a lot of coverage of them. You see them on like Facebook all the time. Adam says he wrote MIA in General Quarters. Moving down a little bit, skipping past a couple comments. Sorry, guys, we got to kind of move it along a little bit. I don't want to spend the whole time just chit-chatting. I mean, well, we are going to be chit-chatting, but you know what I mean. Get to the topic a little bit here. So, Andre says Bismarck Solitaire not bad. So we're going to get to that. Get to that in a little bit here. Let me run through the rest of this stuff. Catch up on comments. I'll run through my little channel spiel, and then we'll get into the topic at hand here. So, Kyle says got to 41C in England 2 weeks ago. Absolutely vile and unbearable. You know, says you were more than welcome to Spain. Besides, there's some really great wargaming conventions. I've seen like you guys have some awesome stuff going on over there with war games. Late January in Badajoz, maybe. I'm sure my pronunciation's terrible. My apologies. Close to Portugal, with several international companies and people. Have a good show, Wayne. Got to do mine for tomorrow. Little kissy face. Catch that kiss. Thanks, Dan. Right back at you. Yeah. Hey, Jay. Hey, everyone. First live show I've been able to catch. Come on in. Pull up a chair. Join the crew. Get yourself a nice coffee. Not provided by my show. You have to provide your own. But, get one. JBX, Facebook has lots of wargame stuff, too. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm on Facebook all the time on, like, the different Facebook groups. So, all right. Let's dive into the, let me pull up my show notes here. You guys can't see. Processing, computers, channels, processing my Google Drive. All right, so we covered the intro. We're here, baby. Covered the weather. Looking good here. You guys get the heat that I just went through. Today's topic, obviously, is book games, game books, whatever you want to call them. Before we dive into the topic, though, let's get to my usual a channel briefing, a new upcoming game I want to cover, and then we'll get into the topic. So, channel briefing. First off, I finished my series on Point Blank, V is for Victory from Sean Drulinger, published by Lock and Load Publishing. So that is the card-based, not card-driven, it's a card game. It's a card war game. Squad scale, abstracted with cards, terrain cards, played on a map, or just play with the terrain cards. Very heavily inspired by Lock and Load Tactical. Covered it with my review. I had some cons, I had some pros. You know, on one hand, line of sight rules, oh boy, struggled with them. I questioned the level of detail required and whether they really need to be in the game at all. I questioned the rulebook a little bit. The rulebook's not bad. Trust me, if I complain about every rulebook, you know, I could complain about every rulebook. It's not that bad. A couple little things I mentioned in my review. And then I want to say the map size. So like, and again, you can use the cards without the map. It helps a little bit, but just the overall game table space required. It's a lot for a card game. You'd almost think it'd be smaller than like a traditional type game. It's not. It takes up a lot more space. So a couple of my cons. Pro though, I got some good pros on it. Love the combat. Love the overall narrative feel to it. And I mentioned it's probably the most involved, in-depth, epic style card war game I've ever played. You know, I basically said Warfighter is like a Hollywood action movie. It's fun, but it's fluff, right? There's no real simulation value. Fun though, still get wrong. I love a good Hollywood action movie. We're not getting any simulation aspect. You know, Point Blank is the opposite, right? It's a war documentary. Could be a little dry. I think the level of rules can drag it down a little bit. Just the rule books, there's so many rules. But when you get into it and you start getting used to it, builds a tremendous narrative, tells a history, and actually works as a simulation as much as you can with a card game, right? A fun thing about that, by the way, I don't want to forget to mention, is that I'm going to have Sean on probably in 2 weeks. Our show will be, I'm debating, we may do a noon show and then an afternoon show as well, or we may just do the afternoon show, or excuse me, evening. It'll probably be evening here. So whatever we're looking at, wherever you are, the time here, it should be, I think, something like 6 or 7 hours later. I know I hate to do it, guys, but he can't make it at noon, and I want to get him on. We're going to debate my review. We're going to debate, and we're going to talk about the game. We're talk about Point Blank and what his design choices are. You know, he can kind of have a little rebuttal to my cons. We can talk about maybe my pros, and then he can give me a little bit of a viewpoint into why he chose certain things, why line of sight works a certain way, why this, why the terrain cards are set up the way they are, etc. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. So look forward to that in a couple weeks. August 12th, Sean Drulinger. Let me see. August. Is it 12th? 8th? No, 8th. August 8th. It looks like so. Yep. All right. No, no, not August 8th. It was August 12th. My bad. Yeah. So whatever that Friday is, my mistake. Yep. August 12th. All right. And then secondly, so now done with Point Blank. I've finally begun my series on Save South Vietnam. I have it set up over here. That's from Bob Faniff and Fortress Games. I have already filmed the unboxing, or unbagging actually is a folio game. A lot of it comes in it though. It's a folio game. I already filmed that. Recon. It'll be going up Monday. So this upcoming Monday. Yep, August 1st here. So in just a few days. Save South Vietnam. It's a dedicated solitaire game, which of course love that. And it's where you take control of U.S. and ARVN forces and try to get South Vietnam back under control using both military and police. So it's not just a military aspect. You have to build up the ARVN and the South Vietnamese native forces, ARVN units, and police to really win. You can't just send in a bunch of American troops and you're going to win. That's not how it works. And really, historically, obviously, we know how that went down. So, enjoying it so far. Really interesting design, and I always love to see designers tackle the Vietnam War, especially in a dedicated solitaire game. So look forward to more coverage of that next week. Finally, after that will be Flashpoint South China Sea. So from Harold Buchanan and GMT. So look for the unboxing, the recon video to go up Monday, August 8th. So I've already been playing it a little bit. It's a new release from GMT. I had a P500. It's a lighter, card-driven, historical/modern, non-kinetic strategy game. What does non-kinetic mean? I saw that term recently. I was like, ooh, I like that. Basically, it's not a war game, right? There's not direct fighting, but the game ties, it tries to recreate kind of the tension that we've had between China and the U.S. and its allies in that region. So people have mentioned the game Twilight Struggle. It's nothing like Twilight Struggle, so I don't want to mention it again besides that. So... all right, let me just check the comments on any of the stuff that I've said, and then we'll check the game I want to look at. Down in a hole, happy Friday. Yeah, happy Friday to you and everyone else. Nice review, Point Blank. Thank you, JBX. Appreciate that. We'll see how it compares to White Dog's Vietnam Solitaire. Well, you're definitely going to see the game in action. I have not covered White Dog's Vietnam Solitaire. I technically have it. I haven't. I played it only like a little. I played like once. I can't even really speak to the game. But Scott, are you sure your name's not Peyton Manning? Daniel has a comment on Bookgames. We're not going to get to that yet because let's cover the last thing here. So, so we have for new releases, upcoming games each week here. I want to have a new segment where I cover at least one game. For this week, we are looking at World War 85 Blood and Fury. So this is from Lock and Load Publishing. They I almost said Kickstarter. The GameFound campaign. They're on GameFound right now. Just launched just a few days ago, and man, they kicked butt. They funded in 15 minutes, reached 85,000 so far. So they're 343% funded. Just I pledged. Yep, I pledged on this one. I went ahead and dove in. I want to support them. Game. So I've been hearing about this World of War 85 system. So both Nations at War and World of War, I have almost no experience with playing them. I think I do have the Nations at War game on Steam, and I played like the tutorial. That's about it. Didn't catch my eye totally. I liked it. It was fun, but on the computer, I was like, again, we've been over this. I don't want to go into deep, but I don't generally play like Vassal, things like that. I've done it for some testing and stuff like that, but I don't love to play those types of games. Beast games, right? Cardboard war games on the computer. I play computer games on the computer. I play my Xbox. I play my Switch. When I want to play a war game like these cardboard ones, I want to play it cardboard. I want to play a physical version of it. Roll dice myself. Flip cards, whatever. So anyway, but it looked interesting, right? But I was like, okay, whatever. And I saw some stuff about it. Excuse me. So I saw some stuff about it, and I was like, okay, looks interesting. It's World at War. Again, Nations at War, and then World at War 85 is the newer, obviously World at War 85 is... it's a platoon level game, and then it's set in alternate history in 1985. It says here, globe is thrust into a maelstrom of World War III when the Warsaw Pact armies storm across the border between East and West Germany in a gambless he sees West Germany and the whole of free Europe. Fantastic. Who doesn't love a good alternative history story, right? So, anyway, when I saw this pop up and I saw it was being coming, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just pledge for it. It's looked interesting. And then Maurice Fitzgerald, Mo's Game Table, he had some stuff on one of the World War 85 games, the last one. I guess it's Storming the Gap is the first one, which I'll comment on that in a second. And so I was like, you know what? It looks interesting. I got to pledge for it, man. And I did, and I'm glad I did. Can't wait for it. It looks super interesting. Which related to this then, so I reached out to Lock and Load and David Heath over there, and I said, hey, this Blood and Fury looks great. Can I get in on something here? I know you guys have Storming the Gap out already. Are there copies available? What's the story there? And he said that so hopefully this doesn't spill into beans. He said that they found a bunch of copies in a warehouse. There's going to be a bunch available. I think they're going to be available to purchase with a discount through the World War 85 Blood and Fury Game Found campaign. But he's going to go ahead and send me Storming the Gap. So I'm going to get a chance to take a look at that and show it off to you guys. So if you've heard about the system, you're not invested yet, you're curious, I'm going to show off at least Storming the Gap ahead of time, and I'll definitely be covering it before this Game Found campaign closes, so that you guys get a chance to take a look at it. And yeah, World War 85, again, I said it's, platoon level combat style, and the thing that's beautiful about this one, and Storming the Gap as well, is that, first of all, Lock and Load Publishing, so yeah, they have fantastic, components, individually die-cut counters, nice and large, lots of numbers and text on there. They don't seem too complicated once you learn it, at least even from playing the online one for Nations at War, wasn't too bad. You can see some new stuff. So this one is Blood and Fury adds the arsenal of the British Army of the Rhine to the NATO forces. Pretty sure Storming the Gap is more U.S. There's a new solo assistant. So the first one, Storming the Gap, there's like a separate solo assistant expansion that works for Nations at War and World War 85, which is pretty cool that it works for both systems. But for this one, Blood and Fury, it's kind of like they're doing with Heroes of the Bitter Harvest, which I covered, and I talked to Devin, had an interview with Devin from Lock and Load, is that it's actually, the solo system is going to be dedicated to this game. So, and you get a ton of content, of course. 8 counter sheets, 700 counters, all individually die cut for these maps, a bunch of player aids, campaign cards, 100 plus poker size formation cards. So another thing is that not only does it have a solo system, but even if you play it like the 2-player, the regular game mode, it's, I think in Nations of War it was chit pull, right? And then now it's card draw, but same thing, right? Randomly, basically, you don't know who's going to activate, which formation is going to activate. Something that, as you guys know, I love that chit pull / card draw mechanic. So, and you can see the game here. Not a cheap one, $100, $110, not cheap. 25% off, the MSRP retail price, whatever. Definitely not cheap, $110, and you got to pay shipping. You get a ton of content. I know nothing's cheap nowadays, right, guys? So unfortunately, but yeah. All right, enough. So World War 85, Blood and Fury, over on Game Found. Check that out if you guys want, if you're interested. So, all right. Okay, on to the topic at hand. So the topic of today, which is Bookgames game books. What is the story with these game books? Which, let's see what Daniel has to say. Bookgames. There was a terrible experience and a very controversial case in social media a few months ago in Spain with one of them. So it's a topic today. Very interesting. Ooh, Daniel, what happened? Interesting. Somebody have like a plagiarized one, or just poor production, or what are we looking at? What are we talking about here? So, all right, these book games, right? They're sweeping the solitaire wargaming community right now. I mean, everyone's talking about them. You see them all over Facebook, especially some on Twitter. They're everywhere. And you go on Amazon, you search for like war games on Amazon, they start popping up. Many different authors. I'm not here to highlight any particular one. I did mention before I thought about maybe getting one of them on, but then I was like, I don't want to make it about them, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just meant like I want it to be about the topic in hand, not a particular person. So. Book games, war game books, whatever you want to call them. Great for a solitaire wargamer, right? Maybe not for all of us. So, I have never played a book game. I don't particularly want to play a book game. I have Bismarck Solitaire because Worthington sends me review copies of things. So they sent me this. I've never cracked the spine. Okay, I cracked the spine to show it off or whatever. Whoop, whoop. Never played it. I really don't have an interest in playing it either. Why don't I have an interest in playing it? What is my problem with these book games, war book games, game books, whatever the heck you want to call them? Maybe I don't have a big problem with them. My thing is just, I've talked about this before. When I get a game, I want it to be ready to go. I want it to be self-contained. If I'm purchasing a game, right, and I'm spending money, and I look at it like, if I've decided to spend money on something, I'm now committing to that with money and time. And let's be clear, I'm talking about games that are being played, right? Not just games you maybe buy, FOMO, fear of missing out, but they sit on your shelf, the shelf of shame type. And I still have old war games that are on my shelf of shame. I've realized that as a solitaire war gamer, I just don't have an interest in playing solitaire, and I've yet to just put them up for sale or unload them, or give them away or trade away or whatever I do with my games. When it comes to these book games, apologies if you hear my dog barking outside. She's going a little crazy. With these book games, I want a game that's ready to go when I buy it. Now they're cheap or less expensive. Let's not say cheap, right? They're inexpensive compared to a box game from GMT, from Compass, from DVG, right? Lock and Load. We just looked at a $110 game, and that's the Game Found pledge price. After it's available, it's probably going to be more expensive. Maybe if you find it at a online war game retailer, you may get it around 110 or a little bit higher, closer to that 110 than the full MSRP. But that's MSRP is $150. I mean, what are these game books, right? Like, I get it. What are these game books? This one, this was like one of the first ones, right? I don't even know what the price is on this bad boy. $30, $20, $25. I don't know. I'm not sure how much this one costs. Like I said, it was just sent to me. But I want my game. I want to be able to open up the box and start playing. I want to read a rule book and start slinging dice and just play. You can't do that with this. I mean, look at this thing. It ruins it for me. So you have all this stuff in here. First off, it's all like holding it like this. Like, how do you play this? So you have to tear the pages out of this. Like, how are you gonna hold this and write down? Because look, I mean, maybe if it's like a spiral bound or something, but it's just like a what do they call it? Perfect copy or perfect bound or whatever it is, glue bound, whatever. A lot of my trade paperback, comic books and graphic novels I read are like this, but I also don't. I'm not writing in them. I'm not reading them for rules. You know what I mean? Secondly, so then you can only use it once, right? Because you're writing in it. You're writing in it, right? You're writing on these pages and stuff. It's not just whatever happens. You're actually writing in this. So and now I know not all of them have the writing. Some of them are just like a map. You're moving like counters around. But again, and this ties into what we've talked about before with print and plays. I don't do those either. I want to buy a game. I'm willing to spend the money. Now I get it. Again, if you don't have the money, if you are really into like the artsy stuff, arts and crafts, you don't mind it. Even if you're not really into it, you just don't mind it. Fair enough. I hate it. I don't like that stuff. I don't like making my own counters. I don't make my own cards. I don't make my, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to like find a printed page of counters in the back and then cut it out and then like mount them myself or something. I mean, what are we talking about here? I've now spent, whatever it is, $15, $20, $30 on something that I have to then spend time and money to get into a playable state. So not only can I not just buy it and play, I have to like do arts and crafts to try to come up with a way to play the game. No thanks, And I know that some of the game books are different and some are very different, right? Again, this is one example. I think Bismarck Solitaire is not a counter one. It's as you can see here, it's one where you're like writing on it, right? Well, you're writing on it. It's not your. So let's say this. How about this? If you're thinking, well, you tell me, Wayne, you don't have to write in the book. In fact, you shouldn't. You should make copies of them and then write on the copies. Okay, fair enough. But why don't I just find one of the millions of games online you can go download from Board Game Geek where people have made for free that are print and play? You go ahead and just download yourself and print yourself and take a marker to it, and you can find your own dice, which I don't mind doing. I buy a lot of folio games. You have to bring your own dice, so that's not a big deal to me. But If you have a product that is not ready to go, I'm not picking on Bismarck Solitaire. This is the only one I happen to have. I do not have any other ones. I've never purchased any of them, and I've been sent any of them because I don't have an interest in it. Um, Maybe one day I'll be one over, but right now, not liking just the. This doesn't work for me. It's not for me, and that's okay. Doesn't mean they're bad. They're just not for me. Adam Mitchell, who has done some of these, is here. So I feel like we're going to have a little bit of a debate, and that's okay. I love it. I love it. Let's do it. He says it depends on the book. Well, clearly, there's a lot of different ones, right? There's ones that I've seen that are. I mean, by the way, Kilroy was here. And his name is Robert Carroll. Kilroy was here. Is his YouTube channel covers like almost all the books from all the different people, including I'm sure Adam Mitchell. I'm sure he's covered some of yours. So go check that out if you want to take a look at it. Like a ton of these book games. But right, I've seen ones that are like choose your own adventure, right? So you're like reading a novel and go to page 56 and you go over there, maybe roll some dice, this or that. Okay, whatever. Obviously less arts and crafts on those, right? It's more of just you're reading and stuff, that type of OG game book, I call it, I guess, because like I think of like the old fantasy ones. What are the Fabled Lands or whatever? The old Dungeons and Dragons, Choose Your Own Adventure. Those are a lot of fun, back in the day. Christopher mentions people use plastic overlays. Okay. So you take it and you spread it out, and then like you tear it out of here, or you just like force it down so it lies flat. Then you put like a piece of plastic over it, or what do you do? Andre says, I was really hesitant when I first saw Bismarck Solitaire, but read some reviews and figured why not give it a try. Now, they're not for everyone, and that is understandable. Oh, absolutely. And that's for everything, right? It's any of these games, right? I can show you guys an American Civil War game that I'm gushing over, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever played. And some of you guys who don't have an interest in the American Civil War may look at it and go, I have no interest in that. It doesn't mean that the game's bad. It doesn't mean that my opinion's invalid. It means you just have no interest in it, right? I definitely have no interest in these game books as of this moment. Adam Mitchell, Mike Lambo's books you play on the page. Okay, right, yeah, that's right. That's the one where it's like a hex grid, right? And you use almost like you make the counters yourself or something like that. Here's I use a 4B pencil. So Adam Mitchell says my books are a mix of war game / solo RPG and choose your own adventure. Right. So I talk about the choose your own adventure solo RPG part of it. Charles says, make a copy. How hard is that? And after that, get a pencil and one die. Okay. So you take it, right? You open it up. You find like the page you want or whatever it is, the game you want, whatever, I guess the scenario. I don't know exactly how this one works. Again, haven't played it yet. And just make copies of each of the pages and then just go ahead and write on them. Okay. Fair enough. So you have to have a scanner and a printer at home, or you have to go somewhere and then spend money on making copies. Okay. Fair enough. Or says, have to go with what you like and interests you. Exactly. Adam says, your argument is slightly flawed. Isn't that the same with some war game miniature games? Oh, Adam, I can tell you're new here to my live streams. I don't play miniature war games. I want to be careful what I say. I don't dislike them. I don't have a particular hatred for them or anything like that. Much like these, I don't have hatred for them. They just don't catch my eye whatsoever. I don't play miniature war games. I don't paint miniatures. I buy war games. I buy paper war games, right? These you see behind me, right? Games that you purchase, you open up, and you set up and you play. You don't have to paint anything. You don't have to cut anything out. You don't have to glue anything. You just have the complete experience in the box. That's what I want. Call me lazy when it comes to that. I'm not paying for arts and crafts. I'm paying to play the game, to learn the history, to experience a good system, to have that thrill of maybe losing but still feeling like I could have won, or the thrill of winning when I was this close to feeling I may lose, things like that, right? I don't mess around with miniature games either. So Charles says tracing paper. Well, there's not. Okay, so I got to buy this tracing paper stuff. What the heck, you guys? Jay says, I agree. I'm not in the book game thing, but use their own. Absolutely. John says, I plan on using Bismarck to generate miniature battles. We don't talk about miniature gaming here. Get out. I'm kidding. It says, bring it on. Oh, we'll bring it on. We brought it. Frankie says, for me, part of the fun of these book games is writing on the page. Bismarck Solitaire is the best and most recent bunch, and I've tried a few. I've heard good things from people, obviously. My chat right now, you guys, there's a ton of you people here who are saying, oh no, they're great, they're fun, Wayne. Get some tracing paper and some pencils and a copier and or I can P500 Flashpoint South Tennessee and it shows up and I just set it up on my coffee table. It's actually kind of a small footprint game, which is really nice. Again, I'm trying to do a little palette cleanse from these big games I've had. And I set it up and it comes with cubes and cards and the board and everything I need. I paid P500. Yes, more expensive than something like this is going to be. And then it shows my front door and it's ready to go. I don't have to do a single bit of arts and crafts with this baby. It's ready to play. So, ooh, here's something. Lee Thompson says, if you're traveling and need a war game fix, these are ideal. Ideal, excuse me. Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. So even sometimes people mention traveling and they're like, which war game should I bring when I'm traveling? And a lot of them I look at and I say to myself, man, why would you bring any war game when you're traveling? Well, like, you'll lose your counters, you're gonna bring dice. Like, man, it's crazy. I suppose maybe, you could pick up one of these game books, all the different types there are, right? Pick up one that suits you, that you're interested in. And it can be easy to bring along. You can at least get that feel, of doing a war game. Maybe you're not doing as much of the Mike Lambo, like Hex Encounter on like a page thing. Maybe you're doing more of if Adam Mitchell, which again, I have not seen your games, your books, Adam, but seeing more of that choose your own adventure-ish style, right? Like RPG, solo RPG, choose your own adventure. Sorry guys, my phone keeps going off. I have to have it on just in case for Vern, my son. Yeah, so maybe. Okay. Adam says, the way I see war game books is a palate cleanser between playing the big games when you only have a few minutes to spare. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah. There's lots of light war games that are self-contained that you can just bust out and play. But yeah, I get it. It's definitely, I think that, and that may be where you're seeing a lot of the people that are getting into these book games, is I think you're seeing not so much people that obviously aren't, can't handle other games, because I also prefer medium to medium light war games over heavy ones. It's not like I can't handle heavy ones. I just don't want to devote all my brain power. It's very limited, guys. Trust me. To one or two big lifestyle games, right? Yeah, no miniatures here, Adam. Charles is about asking for a ban here. He keeps talking about miniatures. He's about to be banned from this channel. Drew says, maybe you can change the channel name to Devil's Advocate. I may have to. I think we had a rebellion here. A lot of you guys loving these book games, apparently. Who knew? I didn't know so many of you love these things. But you know what? I don't. So now that's it. War. Me versus you guys. Me versus my viewers. It's going to get nasty up in here. It's about to get nasty. So JBX says, Bismarck has 8 scenarios and there are pages, so you can play each one 3 times. Okay. That's kind of nice. I mean, so if you don't mind buying it and then just like writing in it or whatever, say you don't want to make copies, right? That's cool that you can just like write into it multiple times. I mean, it looks kind of cool. You're looking at it, right? Look at all that cool stuff. Don't get me wrong, it looks kind of cool, actually. So most of you guys are probably like, I've already played it, already seen it, Wayne. This one's out for a while. I know. It's the only one I got. I'm not trying to pick on it. I'm not trying to pretend. This is the only one I got on hand to show off. I was like, oh, wait, I do have one. So I was going to talk about them, and then I realized, I was like, wait, I do have one. Jay says, P500, it'll show up in 1 to 10 years. LOL. No, well, yeah, you're right. We have a lot of fantastic developers, designers, publishers in this industry, and there's some games that, man, they just do not come out. Some of the stuff is like, You never know. This game, some games are fast track. Some games are like, oh, this looks awesome. Designer, it seems like the game's like ready or close, and you don't see it for a long time. And then whether that's from P500, right, from GMT, Legion War Games, love you, Randy, but oh man, um, everyone, DVG less because I feel like they don't. I feel like they don't really announce their games until they're like a lot closer. Ooh, except Warfighter Fantasy, which has been now delayed and pushed back, and who knows when it's coming. Sean asks, what about games that might straddle that line? Something like Ranger from Omega Games, games that could be accused of being a glorified game book. Well, I mean, there's a lot of ifs and mights, and could be. Is anyone accused of it being a game book? I don't think so. You buy it off Amazon, and you got to tear the pages out to play it. I don't think so. Different kind of game. Charles says, well, Waterloo Solitaire from Worthington made me get White Dog Games, Crisis on the Right, Plant Sonnet, blah, blah, blah. Then went out and bought some 20mm. Charles, you talk about miniatures one more time. You're out of here. You're out of here one more time. Daniel says, book games might be easier way to get new wargaming players. Some players might be scared of games with 100, 200 counters, if not more. Yeah, I can agree with that. Some of those scare me too. And writing on paper might be a good entry option for them. Not bad. So, what are ways to get people in the hobby? It's one of the things we've talked about before. I'm a big proponent of getting new people into the hobby. I'm not saying that we have to change who's in the hobby, right? I'm not going down that path. What I'm saying though is get more people, wherever they are, that are interested in history, interested in these topics, get them into things. So, if game books are going to help with that, then fantastic. I mean, there's no need to gatekeep. There's no need to say, hey, we shouldn't have these because they're distracting from other games or anything like that. In fact, from what I'm seeing, for the most part, these game books are being designed by independent designers, people who have their own company or whatever. Right? They're doing them through Amazon, whatever. They're not. It's not that GMT and DVG and Compass and Worthington are taking all their stuff, all their input, and putting into these game books. Worthington has game books. I think they're it though, right? Isn't that it for like major publishers, major war game publishers? Adam says, when traveling, you can use a simple dice app. Well, now you're on your phone. You might as well just play, Raid Shadow Legends or whatever if you're on your phone. You know what I mean? Do some Need for Speed or something. I may be slightly trolling at this point, guys. I hope you know that. Just want to ask where I'm at and putting those miniatures together. Charles says, do you trim your counters? That's arts and crafts in my humble opinion. First off, I do trim my counters. At least when it's the nasty edge ones. More and more, though, these games are seeing are individually die-cut counters, which I freaking love. God bless you, DVG, Worthington, Lock and Load, etc. I could go on. More and more publishers are doing it, which is, I think, fantastic for the hobby. But some you still have to, games with a lot of counters, small ones generally, right? You still have the traditional counter sprue. Yeah, I usually clip the corners. Got my Oregon laminator, and I clip the corners while I'm watching TV or something. Get my game ready. Is that arts and crafts? Maybe. I don't do it. It's not necessary to play the game, but I feel like the games where you do have to clip the corners, or I want to, excuse me, it helps with gameplay, helps with quality of life, because then otherwise you get those tags on the corners of the counters when you have small maps, small counter hexes, and they like hit each other in the piles, and it's hard to stack them. So, M says, and for me personally, the creation of one got me through my PTSD after I left the forces. So I think these game books are a great outlet for people. Well, obviously I can't say anything bad about that. So, thank you for your service, and yeah, can't really talk bad about that. So whatever helps for there, 100% on board. 100% on board. Mike Lambo, Solitaire Book Games shows up. I'll just stand in the corner and stare at you and don't be put off. Oh, they're teaming up on me now. Hello, Mike. Oh, here we go. They're about to have all their buddies show up. We're gonna have all these people coming in. Oh, game books are the best thing to happen to the hobby. I love them. Adam says, and I have to say, Mike's games got my autistic son into the hobby, so for me, that's a great stepping stone. Again, Adam, you're bringing out all the big guns. If it helps with PTSD, helps your autistic son, I think that's fantastic. Clearly it is. And don't let anyone else say otherwise. If someone says they don't like something, but you say I love it, and you make some, and it helps you and your family, nothing wrong with that. Don't let anyone else put you off. I still don't like arts and crafts for my games. I want to be able to play it from purchase. Let's see. Adam says, when you team up against this game book villain, I'm gonna write my own game book, and in it, it'll be the handsome and morally correct YouTuber defending himself against the vile, I don't know, I'm losing it, game book creators. I don't know. I went off the rails. I thought I had something, but I'm working on it. I got to work on it. Chris talking to Charles. I have to try to paint a little day every day. Perhaps it is the momentum, but it's amazing how many minis I can pump out, and I'm a super slow painter. Charles says bye because him and all of his miniatures. It's a good thing you left. Good thing you're leaving because I almost had to ban you for all this miniatures talk. So when it comes to the game books, I've explained why I don't like them, or why I have no interest in them. They're not a negative thing, right? So I think that there can be trends that can hurt the hobby. Things that, and I don't even know if wargaming has had a trend like that anytime recently. I can't think of one offhand, so unless you guys can think of one. And book games are not that, right? They're not that trend that's going to hurt the hobby. They can only help the hobby. As I've said, and I've talked about it just in this stream, talking about many other streams, anything we can get to onboard more people into wargaming, introduce them to wargaming, introduce them to the topics and the ideas. And a lot of times it's right. Think of word of mouth with stuff, right? When it comes to wargaming, it's hard to have word of mouth physically, like back in the day, or when you're talking about maybe more common things, TV shows, right? You go to work, you talk about Game of Thrones before, last couple seasons. And suddenly, Game of Thrones, I've heard a lot about that. Maybe I'm going to check that out because the people are playing it or watching, excuse me. Well, we do it online with our war games, right? And so if we have game books and they're covering historical topics, medieval combat in Britain, or you're talking about Normandy or whatever, and people see that and they get it, what is this? And if they're able to buy it for cheap, right? If they're able to spend only $15, $20 on something, as opposed to maybe a game that costs, a box game that costs, even a cheaper one, 50, 60 minimum, generally nowadays. You're spending less than half the money. You're learning it, you're seeing it, and maybe then in your mind, and you're thinking, you're getting an interest in it, and you say, wait a second, this was a lot of fun. I did like learning about history. I did like simulating this history, rolling dice, or whatever it is, choose your own adventure style, whatever it is. Whatever what else there is. Oh, hey, I see another game book by this company called Worthington. Hey, Worthington, oh, look, they make these other games. I'm going to check those out. Who else makes games like these? GMT, DVG, etc. You've now gotten people not only interested, but aware of our industry, our hobby, and what else there is. Last book games is a temporary trending topic. Do you think they have enough space to grow in the wargaming market? So they're definitely going to be around as... Adam says, I think they're staying, especially with print on demand. Yeah, so they're definitely not going anywhere, right? I do think that it is the new hotness. So it's, they're trending, and these book games are... This is War Games' version of roll and writes. So if anyone you follow the traditional board gaming hobby in the board gaming industry, a few years ago, roll and writes just hit the gaming world by storm. Oh, hey, look, they're cheaper, and you get to write, and you get to do like arts and crafts, and like how fun is that? It's not just these cardboard pieces or plastic pieces, right? It's something else, something different. Really took the hobby by storm, and they still exist, and they will exist. Like roll and write games and similar. They branched out. They have little innovations. We're going to be part of the board gaming hobby for forever, foreseeable future, right? But they've definitely peaked as far as that sort of new popular trend, right? Well, same thing I think with book games. I think we're seeing book games they're going up. They're getting more popular. They are very popular. Check Facebook. We talk about that. You go on Facebook, Facebook groups. They are all over the place. These book games are all over the place. I mean, you mentioned like a big box war game, you get 5 likes. You mention a book game, you get 20 likes and a bunch of comments from people. Now, that's not wrong, right? I'm just talking about how the hobby is right now and sort of the state of the book games, and how they are in our hobby. So, can they grow more? Probably. I think you're going to see more people, right? You're going to see different voices get involved. Mike Lambo, he has his. Adam Mitchell has his. Other designers as well. Noah Patterson, Worthington's putting them out. But I think you're going to start seeing different people creating them. The market will reach a point, right, where it's sort of saturated. It doesn't mean they go away, but it's just saturated where it's no longer growing. That segment's not growing. You're going to have the people like me who are stubborn and don't want to play that, but we also don't have a problem with it, right? I have no problem. It's like, I'm not the old grognard who's like, oh, these new counters that individually punch, die cut, or whatever, mounted boards are no good. It has to be paper. I don't have a problem with game books. I just have no interest in them myself. Jay comments, I do appreciate the book games take manufacturing out of China. More companies need to seek alternatives to Chinese production. Yeah, well, that goes for more than just board games and war games and print industry too. I think you're seeing, we're not going to get into politics. We don't do that on this channel, but you're seeing a lot of forces in action that hurt production in almost everything. Again, not just paper products, not just books and war games, but other things as well. Charles says, trimming counters is why I try to avoid buying older games, last century, no matter how grail it is. Well, Charles, don't you're doing miniatures, you're doing game books, you're clearly all up in the arts and crafts stuff. You got a whole studio. What's the problem with trimming some counters? Right? It's got to be pretty easy compared to painting a miniature, right? Adam says, even when the trend dies out, I still think there'll be a few diehard authors who will still fight the good fight. Right. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be, the trend levels off, right? So it's not so much like it dies out, but I know what you're trying to say. Things will level off. So you will reach a point where instead of being the new hotness, it's just sort of part of it, right? It's part of the hobby. Just like no one gets excited. I feel like even when I started wargaming just 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was, well, I guess we talked about this before, I was off. I think it's 8 years ago when I started wargaming, like modernish wargaming with Memoir. But then maybe 5-6 years ago when I really got into more of the niche art style of hobby of it. But I remember when mounted, like when individually die cut counters and mounted boards became a little bit more common amongst more deluxe games, more expensive games, it was kind of a newer thing, right? Because it's like, well, all this stuff's paper and counters that you have to cut out, trim, whatever, very small, very square, right? And now suddenly you have these pre-rounded, and now they're everywhere, right? It's not. I mention in my reviews all the time because it is important, but important to mention those things, and I love seeing that high quality production, but it's pretty common at this point. Everyone's doing them for the most part, unless you're MMP, which is only literally focused on like grognard games, but it's common. It's not as, oh my god, this game has a mounted map. Who cares? A lot of them do, right? Again, it's good, but it's just not exciting. It doesn't catch your eye. It doesn't catch the excitement. Same thing I think was going to happen with game books. Right now, it's like a new one's released. Everyone that I see on Facebook is just like, oh wow, look at this. What topic is this? How does this one play? How interesting? Blah blah blah. And it's less expensive. Again, I don't want to use the word cheap. Less expensive than a traditional war game. Ones you even may see here. But yeah, it's going to level off and they'll be around, but it's just going to have that spark of popularity. Adam says, I also think the pandemic pushed the game books option during the lockdowns. Yeah, that was probably a good driver of popularity and of availability, right? You have a lot of people who were stuck at home, or even if not stuck at home, but not doing, big gatherings, conventions, things like that. So then, easy to buy a book, you just play solitaire, And I see solitaire wargaming doing nothing but growing, regardless of what's going on in the world when it comes to pandemics, lockdowns, all those things. The C word. Um, it's not like solitaire wargaming is done because hey, people are getting back together now. It's just going to keep growing, um, and for good, and I think for good reason too. Yeah, I don't have a um, real problem with war games or excuse me, book games at all. I just have no interest in them myself personally. So, and that was the point of today's show was sort of a little pushing buttons, a little trolling, I guess, having a little fun with you guys. Because I knew that I know how it is when someone says they didn't like something that you like, and you want to jump in and be like, no, it's great, and here's why. So I knew that I would get a lot of people coming in telling me, hey, no, they're good, and here's why, which I appreciate. I appreciate hearing your guys' perspectives. Um, you know, have you convinced me to try a book game? Probably not. But I see some different perspectives from you guys. Talking about things that helps with if it helps with. I'm gonna deny it. I'm gonna find the write to the mailman and say return to sender. Do not hand me that. I'm gonna put up guard towers if I know it's coming. I have the app, and when you go to like USPS, their website, you can check to see what mail you got coming. If I happen to see some game book or anything from Mike Lambo heading towards my house, I'm divert it to somewhere else. So don't even try it, Mike. Charles says arthritis and carpal tunnel takes me a few days to get through a couple sheets. Talking about trim encounters, I can understand that. I get that. I can't understand it. I don't have arthritis or carpal tunnel, but I can empathize and understand that that would be a real pain because even I have, for the most part, is I still also excuse me when I'm my train of thought for a second. When I'm clipping counters, squeezing the thing out, my hands and wrists get a little bit sore by the end of it, especially if you're doing like SPQR and 2,000 counters. Patrick says, "What do you think of this? The print-on-demand aspect of book format games lets designers go from idea to product in a remarkably short period of time. Maybe we'll see more of those games because they're simply easier to get to market." And I do love that. I do love the fact that because I think you're seeing some companies get log jammed a little bit. Legion, MMP, right? Some companies and games they're releasing games like crazy, very quickly. Compass, others, even GMT, as big as they are, they got to be the biggest, right? They got to be bigger than Compass. I feel like do they even release as many games as Compass? I suppose they do. They probably do. Actually, they probably do release as many or more. So make sure I have no figures in front of me. By the way, this is all just pure like guesswork based on what I see in the hobby. But I feel like they should be bigger. I feel like GMT should be releasing more games. Why aren't they releasing more games? I mean, I've seen the games in their P500 pipeline, and we joke about it being how long it takes. There's games that are done. At I've seen people playing them for years before they're actually published by GMT. Why does it take years to get a game released? That's done. That's ready to go. It makes no sense. It only hurts the hobby. It only hurts the hobby that it takes so long to produce and release new game designs. So I think that when you have book games and whatever term you want to use for them, they're easier to produce, design, and release, and they get to the market quicker. That's good for everybody involved. If you have an interest in that, it's good for everybody. It's good for the designer. It's good for the people who want to consume that product. It says you should make a topic for a live chat of what people don't like in war games. Daniel, you've got all kinds of ideas for topics for my channel. I actually like it. I do like it. People don't like in war games. Ooh, that could get saucy too. You get saucy too. We should. I may have to do that. Steal that one, Daniel. I made a list of topics, and I think I had like 2 years on there already. So this may be a third that I add to it. Daniel, you're an idea man. We got to get you on the show. Get you on the show. Richard says I gave up on clip encounters. Tried it for a bit, I guess, thinking if I wanted to get serious in the hobby, but screw that. like I said, I do it for quality of life. What I mean by that, when you're playing Great Battles of History, which I love. However, it's half-inch counters on traditional counter sprues. You got the little clips, the little like corner of the counter. I don't have any handy to show off, but it'll have the little tufts of like extra cardboard. What are you gonna do? You can't. You have all these stacks, units all close together, these little hexes, lines of infantry. You got your Roman legionary. Like what are you gonna do? Well, if you trim them up, you clip the corners. Suddenly they can slide and move around each other, and you're not catching them and causing all kinds of chaos. So it's literally like a quality of life feature when it comes to that. That is not even just like I want them to look good. No, you like need to clip them basically with a game like with one of the Great Battles of History games. Sean asks, maybe the chat will know, because I won't know. Is there a game book that has some really innovative or original mechanics that really show off the form? Something could not be done by a board folio war game. Ooh. So, if we got Adam and Mike here, so if one of you guys want to comment, what is a game that maybe has really original or innovative mechanics? Interesting. Mike says, "Oh, Wayne, you've disappointed me. Good. I don't want to make a book game designer happy." Adam says, "Make someone serve him a copy or something." So, don't try to serve me. I will hide. I will hide. If I have a Ring doorbell, if I see someone out there and they're got a little book in their hands and they're ready to serve me, a little middle envelope with a book inside, I'll know there's a book in there. I'll see the little bulge in the middle envelope. I'll hide. It won't come out. Barely come out as it is. So I play solitaire. Cactus Air Force was one that seemed to be in development in limbo that was on P500 for a long time, but not anymore. Was that just canceled, or what happened with that one? Perhaps like a scene from Clockwork Orange, Wayne with his eyes forced open and compelled to play. Leave me be. Leave me be. I don't want to do it. I don't want to. I refuse. I'm stubborn. I'm trying to do a grognard when it comes to this stuff. I think I should probably pick one up and just play it and just see. Patrick comments, quick to market may mean rapid iteration and innovation. Absolutely. As I sense, so as I think I would imagine, as anything, when you're designing a game, you're designing something, like again, like anything, any job, any trade, any craft, whatever, the more you do it, the better you get. If you're designing games and they're not getting released, right? If you're Mark Herman, clearly, anytime you just think of an idea and you put it on a cocktail napkin, somebody's going to make your game in the blink of an eye. You have no problem getting it made. You're jumping every queue there is, right? If you're Mark Herman. Well, what if you're new to it? You have a lot of potential, but you're just not getting a chance to get that design produced. Well, you're probably not going to sit there designing games, learning from them, designing, because it's part of learning and designing, releasing a game, then learning from the design. And what you did is public feedback, right? It's feedback from a variety of people. Maybe not just a handful of playtesters if you have them, but people, right? A group of people who buy your game. If you're able to design and release these book games on your own, right, very quickly, you're going to be learning. You're going to be learning real fast. I'm sure Mike and Adam could tell you that they've learned a lot from their very first book. Well, maybe Mike. I don't know about Mike. Adam, I bet he has. Mike, I don't know. There's something about him. He probably hasn't learned anything from this stuff. So. Adam mentions the print-on-demand option, I think, brings new designers and new ideas in the hobby. Breaking the traditional way things are done. Yeah, absolutely. We kind of talked about that a little bit. Patrick bringing it up. Absolutely. I'll get the duct tape. I'll be watching. I am armed. Christopher, this is a good point. That's either that way. I don't know what you're talking about. No print and play for me. It'd be a fun idea for talk what people don't like. I'm glad to help you anytime, Wayne. Hey, absolutely, Daniel. I appreciate that. Christopher says, I see it as a cheaper option. Talk about book games or print and play or... Oh, hang on. Oh. So Adam says Mike's games. Definitely do that. They're really streamlined, easy to pick up, yet detailed enough to give you a good, solid game. You you book game designers, you guys just stand up for each other, don't you? You have each other's backs all the time. All right. So Daniel, Wayne, if you were alone on a remote island and you could choose only one option, what would you choose? A miniature war game or a book game? No win. I do not believe in the no win scenario. Okay, Kobayashi Maru, Captain Kirk. I do not believe in the no win scenario. I will sneak a folio game from Decision Games with me under my shirt. I will refuse, and then when I get there, I will burn the book game for warmth, or shred the pages and create a soft bedding with them, and I'll sit back and sip coconut juice, fermented so slightly, get a little buzz going, while I play a Decision Games folio game on D-Day. Boom. Problem solved. I do not believe in the no-win scenario. Adam says, my books are more old school fighting fantasy RPG and a war game and focuses on OG approach with skill checks and narrative. Okay, so yeah, a little more RPG-ish than like traditional war game style. Adam says, oh God, my first book was a mess compared to where I'm at now. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, imagine like anything, right? You grow better as the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you get used to it. Non-book game, Wayne. Anzio, isn't that all there is nowadays? All this book. It's just going to be, our hobby's just going to be nothing but book games from here on out. I think that GMT, MMP, they should close up shop unless they're going to start making book games. There's no future in anything else. Anzio second edition coming from White Dog looks solid. Lots of good games coming from White Dog. So they are slightly aside. White Dog is sending me, I believe, I think I got a shipping notice, and I think it's from Blue Panther. So for those who don't know, White Dog, Holland Spiel, and a few other guys, they were published by Blue Panther. Is the actual printing, right? They're the publisher, but Blue Panther does actual printing. So when you get a package, you buy a game from them, it's Blue Panther. Blue Panther has a package coming, whatever. Well, I got this one, Grass Crown, 2 Grass, 2 Crown, and then there is I have 2 more packages from Blue Panther coming. So I think White Dog is sending me the what is it? I think White Dog is sending me. What am I thinking of here? Kaiser Krieg. I think I'm finally getting my hands on Kaiser Krieg, and then Volters Lead the Way from Herman London. So, can't wait. But anyway, so yeah, Anzio second edition. All right, another one to check out. So many. Crown of Kings, something I wanted to get as a kid. I would love to have a crown or be a king and be a king. Been waiting for Bear's Claw. Ooh, Bear Claw, delicious. D&D for about 10 years. Still 40 plus games ahead of it in the queue. So, yeah, what's the deal with that? Is the game not done? Is it really not done? Here's a GMT puts out so many fantastic games, but there's an aspect of them where it's I feel like they definitely do not handle their queue of games properly. It's a little bit, I hate to say it, a little bit of negligent of them, because I think they get people excited, because who wouldn't want to have a game design or published, what designer wouldn't want to have a game published by GMT? And so then, yeah, I'll commit to you, absolutely, please, oh, I can't wait, this is so exciting. And then years go by. Your game is basically done, fine-tuned, a little more testing, maybe some artwork. Okay, work on that stuff. It should not take years upon years to get the game released. Okay, I've played these war games, play them every freaking day. I'm playing war games. You guys know I play so many freaking games. None of these things are things, although I'm not saying they're not tremendous amounts of work for the designers. None of them are things that should take years to make. I haven't played a single war game that I said, yeah, I bet this took 3 years to make. 3 years if you're, yeah, no. Something wrong with the process. For instance, here, Sean says, for Solo, the big GMT one I'm waiting for is Mr. President. Yeah, I have that P500. I've had it for years. P500 for years. It was every year the release is next year. It's gotten so bad with that game even that the box cover only goes through 2020. Like it says whatever it is. I can't remember. It's like 2000 to 2000. It's like 2000 to 2020, something like that. When that cover was designed, it seemed like it would maybe release in 2020, and that was already years after it should have been released. Tony, nice to see you, Tony. Mr. President is coming soon. I doubt it. Prove it. We'll see it when it's in our hands. I know. I saw over in your channel. Little plug for Tony's Board Life. I think he did a playthrough with who, the designer or somebody. I think he did a playthrough with somebody, right? Maybe they were showing you the ropes or something. So I've been playtesting. Yeah, if I had started playtesting this game, Mr. President would be playtesting since I was like 20 years old. Maybe not that bad, but oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, so check out Tony's Board Life, his channel, video on Mr. President. So maybe we'll get one this actual presidency, get it published by now. Because Mr. President, I wonder how long it's actually been in development, right? For real, how long it's been in development. Like I don't have a way to look. I guess somebody probably knows when GMT maybe first announced it, or maybe said like had a general idea of when they announced it, right? Because I would say when a publisher announces a game, they should have a decent idea at that point already. It's going to be published. I'm not saying it has to be done, but it shouldn't just be like someone wrote down on a piece of paper, solitaire game where you play as the president of the United States. And they hold it up and they go, look, this game is announced. Clearly, I assume it was farther along than that. So I'm curious where it was. We're way off topic now, but that's what happens on this show. So I know Gene, right? Designer who, he owns GMT, runs GMT. Probably as busy as he is, the problem I'm sure, right, was that he only had 2 minutes a day to work on it. Maybe a bit off more than he could chew. Maybe he maybe should have passed the design along to someone else to finish. I can only assume, not having any inside knowledge, that the game that since Gene runs GMT and is probably very, very, very busy, that he didn't have a whole lot of extra time to work on this game design, and that's why it took literally years upon years to finish. Shima from Revolution. So I'm trying to hang on. Oh, maybe I don't have. Sorry, guys, I'm not trying to. Don't worry, guys. I mentioned that I got the comment up there. Do I not have anything on it? Ah, I don't. All right, so I own Last Battle. I thought I had like videos on it. I don't. I own that, and I have played it. Got a print soon, huh? Interesting. I actually really enjoyed it. It's one that is one of the earlier war games that I played. So came out 2015. Looks like it was printed. So anyway, came out in 2015, and it's one that I played before I had my YouTube channel. So I've not covered it, but yes, I have played it, and I enjoyed it. I like all of Micro Ranella's designs, all of his Area Impulse designs. Really, I don't know if he's done a bad one. The worst one I played was his most recent from Against the Odds magazine, the Battle of Chancellorsville one, which was just, the rulebook was terrible, like just trash. And so that killed the whole freaking game for me. And then the design with the where you can once per turn, you can refresh basically all your units, flip them back from their spent side to the fresh side. All of them, both sides, by the way. So it's like freaking 50 units come back. Oh god, that would like doubling the length of the game. Just ridiculous. But anyway, that one though, the last battle, is a good one. So, all right. Anyone else got anything before we wrap it up here? We're an hour 15, so give us a few more minutes, 5, 10 more minutes. But otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. Questions, comments, hate mail, send them my way. Contact me via email for my address. Send your hate mail, my P.O. box. Good stuff. Iced coffee sometimes hits. Chef's kiss. Yes, JBX, you have a great weekend as well. Absolutely. Sean has any plans, Wayne, to try and cover the Big Red One solo add-on for Heroes of Normandy from Devil Pig Games? So I did look at that. No definitive plans. I do not have it. I do not have it on its way. However, I would be interested in it. I am interested in it. I have a bunch of review games coming from different publishers, and then I have purchased a few of my own games that I'm covering. So you have a little bit of a big plate for the channel for the next probably, well, it takes time to get all these videos out, right? I talked about it before. I'll mention it again. I'll mention it every time if I have to. I spend time playing my games before I do playthroughs and reviews. I don't just set it up, play part of a game, and then just go for it. I actually play my games all the way through multiple times before I write my reviews, unlike some reviewers. So anyway, so my plate's pretty full for the next month, probably month and a half, but not against it. Not against it, that's for sure. So. Wayne, what's the best Hollandspiel game you can recommend and soloable? Tie between two of them. Stilicho, Last of the Romans from Robert Dulesky. It's a Stage of Siege style game. Hand management. Absolutely fantastic design. Based on his Wars of Marcus Aurelius game, but much improved in both gameplay, mechanics, the system, the look of the game. The game looks beautiful. Tremendous production. Absolutely love it. Stilicho, Last of the Romans. And then Aurelian, Restorer of the World, which, my second favorite Roman emperor. Aurelian. 3 Cups design from Abel Holland, also from Hollandspiel, obviously. So fantastic. So I would say Stilicho, it's a tie. You want States of Siege with card driven, or do you want sort of a unique 3 Cup system, which is 3 Cup system. If you don't know, it was also in Agricola, not the Farmer, Agricola Master of Britain, and the Charlemagne game. However, with Aurelian, they get rid of the tactical battles and the boss battle type crap, which didn't work. Didn't work in the system. It didn't need it. It didn't work. You don't need to have that weird tactical. It's not even really tactical. It's like lineup units, and then they fight each other. It just bogged down the whole game. Forget it. Glad it's done with that. So anyway, either of those two. Obviously, both. Aurelian is a good game, but the graphics, I don't know. They're okay. I mean, Stilicho is a better looking game, but Aurelian looks good enough. Doesn't be perfect. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks for the show. Yes, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Unless you are a... Yes, Adam, got to go soon. Need to work on my next 2 game books. Of course. Yep. So everyone, please have a great weekend unless you design game books, and then I hope you don't have a good weekend. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding, guys. When people, Wayne hates game books and game book designers. I heard it here. If I was in any way famous, I would have my clips from this video, from my live stream here, pulled out of context and showed out of context. Seriously though, yeah, good luck guys on your game books. Maybe one day I will play one. That day is not today, but it could happen. I am open to it. Maybe it could happen. So, all right, okay, let's go. We got to get out of here. Hour 20. Have a great weekend. You too, Daniel. everyone else, thank you so much, guys. The crew, you showed up in force today. Good topic, good chat. Even good to see you game book designers. I'll even give you that. So, but until next time, everybody, later.